All right, happy Friday. Welcome back. Concepts and Training, diving into the topic of the fact that all models are wrong, some are useful. It's a quote from George Box, who's a physicist back in like 1950, 1960. What we look at, right? All models are wrong, some are useful. So when we look at training, when we look at applying any type of system or methodology to solving a problem in fitness, right now, when we say problem, we're not saying that you're broken. That's the one thing I think we need to initially start off with. But when we look at, achieving a goal, that's our problem. We're trying to solve and get you to a goal and an end point. Well, when we look at that, not every system's going to work, right? Now, when we look at methodologies, you have all these different ones. You have conjugate, you have triphasic, you have just a standard, linear or, a block periodization. You have undulating periodizations, CrossFit, like all these different models exist outside of, or out in like the fitness world. So when we look at these things, what we have to understand is that all of these are wrong, all of them. Some are useful, right? And so what that really means when we look at it is you have a specific goal that you're trying to hit. You have a specific endpoint. You have a time duration, right? If you took it SMART goals, right? The time bound and specific and manageable. When we look at those things, not every system is going to really meet those. If you're trying to maximize the snatch, clean, and jerk, well, CrossFit's not going to be your best go-to. A solid Olympic weightlifting plan, most likely in a block periodization, tends to work really, really well for that. All right. If we're looking at powerlifting, well, depending on the type of powerlifting you're doing and your level of ability, a conjugate system or west side approach might work well for you, whereas a block approach might work well for you. Percentage-based training, and RPE is another great example. We can base percentages for a lot of different lifts, but percentage training itself is not always the best for each individual. Same thing with reps in reserve, RPE, velocity-based training. Not all these models work for every goal. And that's the big thing to think about. Absolutes. It's not that all models are right, it's that all models are wrong, and you have to find the right model to apply to the constraints and apply to the goal that you need to work for. All right? A lot of times you sit there and you'll see all these different exercises on social media, you'll see all these different programs spit out by coaches. Some of them won't work because you're applying the wrong solution to the wrong problem. All right? You're mismatching, you're trying to fit a square peg in a round hole, or square peg, round hole. Almost said round hole, square peg, but it's the same thing. Wow, it's early in the week when we're filming this. So when we look at those, understand that if you're not getting results, you might be trying the wrong approach, right? The model that you're using to reach your goal isn't the right one, all right? So when you take into account any different thing, whether it's even the programs that I put out there, these different things are just based on different models, and those models might not be the best approach in order to get you where you want to go. So if you're trying to get somewhere, understand that all models are wrong. There's only going to be a couple that are really going to benefit you. One's probably going to be better than the other, but there's a couple that might work to get you where you want to go. So that's just something to kind of dive into on this week's Concepts and Training.